Now, the US has approved the sale of a birth control pill without needing a prescription for the first time. The oral contraceptive called the Opill has been available since the 1970s, but only to those who first see a doctor. There will now be no age restriction once non-prescription sales begin next year. Medical groups have been campaigning for easier access to contraceptives with greater urgency ever since the US Supreme Court struck down the right to an abortion last year. Well, let's bring in Rachel Rebouche. She is the Dean at Temple University's Beasley Law School and is also a leading scholar of reproductive health law. She's in Philadelphia, from where she joins us. Rachel, Opill, I believe, was first approved for prescription use back in 1973. That means it's been used by women for half a century. I know hormone pills are already the most commonly prescribed form of contraception in the US. Just how much of a difference does this make?
It makes a huge difference because often people say that the reason they are not using pills, they're not using oral contraceptives, is because of the travel to get to a clinic, needing to have a primary care provider, having someone who's going to prescribe it to you, and being able to walk into a Walgreens or CVS and buy it like you would buy a vitamin or any other over-the-counter drug, I think will really ease access. I think the big question is, how much is it going to cost?
Well, I was going to ask you about that because accessibility is really also determined by price. And I believe if it's not a prescription, it also isn't usually covered by insurance. Is that a worry?
That's right. So the Affordable Care Act in the United States covers prescriptions and contraceptives that are prescribed to people. But I think the Biden administration has already said that it's looking to require states to include these over-the-counter contraceptives in their insurance plans. And the company itself has pledged to try to make the drug as accessible and affordable as possible. So I think affordability is on top of people's minds.
Mm-hmm. Well, birth control is already available over the counter in more than 100 other countries around the world. How does the US compare globally when we talk about women's reproductive rights now?
You know, I think the US is increasingly an outlier. I think the clear trend globally has been to allow abortion, and now the United States has a third of the country that bans all abortion from the earliest moments of pregnancy. As you say, many countries allow contraceptives over the counter, really in a way to try to reduce the unintended pregnancies that make up 50% of the pregnancies in the United States. I think this is a really important move in what is a crucial moment in the U.S., one that really threatens women's reproductive health.
Rachel, so you say this is a really crucial moment in the US. This in particular was a decision by the FDA, right? The Food and Drug Administration, a regulatory body. Could an FDA decision on, say, the abortion pill perhaps get past some of the legal battles we're seeing emerge?
The FDA is certainly embroiled in those legal battles over the abortion pill. Texas court striking down, essentially suspending the FDA approval of medication abortion mifepristone that was approved over 20 years ago. The Fifth Circuit doing the same, and now it's, we're back in court and waiting. We're going to probably see the case go before the United States Supreme Court. So I think the FDA has been at the center of these conversations, and it will be interesting to see if the FDA is sued, if this decision is challenged like its decisions around medication abortion have been challenged.
Rachel, it sounds like you think that this is obviously a step in the right direction. Do you think that that might perhaps provide some momentum further in that direction?
Potentially. I really think it's a step in the right direction in a country that, where there are states that ban abortion. Making contraceptives as available as possible, I think, really meet the demand for people who might otherwise have unintended pregnancies and not really have options beyond giving birth or adoption or ordering pills online to self-manage their own abortions. So I think the more available contraceptives are in a regime that's restrictive on abortion rights, that's a good thing.
Rachel Rebouche, the Dean at Temple University's Beasley Law School and also a leading scholar of reproductive health law. Thank you for joining us and sharing your expertise with us here on Jazeera, Rachel.
Thank you so much.